Attention passionate Washington Commanders fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Washington Commanders' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave division rivals stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Washington Commanders fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with YOUR, FRINDS, and Washington Commanders FANS. Let's get to the news. All right, folks, buckle up because what I'm about to tell you could be one of the most game-changing moves in recent Commanders history. Rumors are swirling, and insiders are leaking that the Washington Commanders are in serious talks to land none other than Nick Bosa. Yes, the star pass rusher from the San Francisco 49ers. Now I know what some of you might be thinking. Is this really happening? Bosa to Washington? Well, the whispers are getting louder and sources suggest that a trade might be on the horizon. And if it happens, it could send shockwaves through the NFC and set the Commanders up for a serious run in the upcoming seasons. To understand how big this could be, let's dive into the details of this potential blockbuster trade. According to multiple insiders, the 49ers are open to trading Bosa in exchange for some significant draft capital, specifically a second-round pick in the 2026 NFL Draft and a third-round pick in 2027. The reasoning behind this move? Well, San Francisco is dealing with some ongoing issues. They're battling chronic injuries across their defensive line, and with their cap situation tight, around $20 million over the cap, they're looking to free up some space. Plus, their pass rush has been less dominant than in previous years, averaging just 19. 2 sacks per game, which is decent but not at the elite level they're used to. Now, why would Washington be interested? It's simple. The Commanders have been looking for that game-wrecking pass rusher to elevate their defense into elite territory. Their current edge rushers have shown flashes, but they haven't quite reached the consistency or dominance needed to truly terrorize opposing quarterbacks night after night. Adding Bosa, a 2-time Pro Bowler and the NFL Defensive Player of the Year in 2022, would instantly change that. Bosa's career stats speak volumes: 53 sacks, 14 forced fumbles, and a PFF grade of 92.8. That's the kind of impact player every team dreams of having on their defense. It's worth noting that Bosa's recent season was hampered by a knee injury that required surgery during Week 2, limiting him to just 3 games in 2025. In those games, he managed 9 solo tackles, 8 assists, and 2 sacks, along with a couple of forced fumbles and a fumble recovery. Those numbers don't tell the full story of how disruptive he can be when healthy. His pressure rate of 26% and EPA per snap of plus 0.20 demonstrate how much he can alter a game's dynamics. When healthy, Bosa is a nightmare for offensive lines, capable of consistently generating double-digit sack seasons and wreaking havoc in the backfield. Now looking at the 49ers, they're currently 7-4 but are conceding an average of 19.2 points per game, relatively high for a team with championship aspirations. Their issues are twofold: cap space and the need to bolster their WR core. They've been struggling on offense, especially in the passing game, with an EPA pass of -0.5, which indicates a need for more explosive weapons to complement their solid run game and defense. Trading Bosa could be a way to generate some much-needed cap relief and draft capital to rebuild the offense and address their roster needs. For the Commanders, the potential acquisition of Bosa isn't just about adding another talented pass rusher. It's about transforming their entire defense. Imagine a front 7 with Bosa and Chase Young together. That's a nightmare for any offensive line. Bosa's presence would likely push the entire defensive line into elite territory, similar to what Khalil Mack did during his time with the Bears, turning a decent defense into a feared one. The impact on their secondary would also be significant, as opposing offenses would be forced to double-team Bosa, freeing up other pass rushers and coverage players. The numbers projected with Bosa in Washington are staggering. If he joins forces with Chase Young, the duo could combine for over 22 sacks in a season, pushing the pressure rate well above their current 32%, potentially reaching 40%. Opponents' points per game could drop from 24.5 to around 18, and their run defense would see a boost of about 15%, going from giving up 110 yards per game down to roughly 90. It's reminiscent of the Rams after they traded for Aaron Donald in 2015. a defensive transformation that turned the team into one of the league's most formidable units. The entire defense would become a nightmare for offenses, with their EPA per rush increasing by 25% and tackles for loss climbing by 12 per game. And let's not forget about the bigger picture here, the playoff implications. If this trade goes through, the Commanders would instantly vault into serious Super Bowl contender discussions. Bookmakers are already shifting their odds. Right now, the Commanders' Super Bowl odds would move from a distant plus 100, 0 to a much more realistic plus 20, 0. Their NFC title odds would jump from plus 50, 0 to plus 8, 0, reflecting how much this kind of move could turn their fortunes around. The addition of Bosa would give Washington a game-changing factor, especially against strong offensive lines in the playoffs, making them a formidable opponent against top-tier teams like the Eagles or the Cowboys. Looking ahead, this move could even set a tone for the franchise's future. It's reminiscent of when Khalil Mack was traded to the Bears, instantly elevating their defense and making them playoff contenders. That kind of impact is what the Commanders need if they want to push for their first Super Bowl appearance since 1991. A dominant pass rush can cover up some of the weaknesses in the secondary and make life easier for the linebackers and safeties. It's about creating a cohesive, fearsome defense that can close out games and keep their offense in a position to win. Of course, there are always questions and uncertainties. Will Bosa want to leave San Francisco, a team that's been a perennial playoff contender? Will the Commanders be willing to give up the draft capital needed, knowing that this is a gamble that could pay off big time? And how will Bosa fit into the team's defensive scheme, which has been evolving under coordinator Jack Del Rio? Those are questions only time will answer, but the signs are pointing toward a serious possibility that could reshape this franchise for years to come. In the end, this trade could serve as a turning point for the Commanders, elevating them into serious Super Bowl contenders and solidifying their defense as one of the league's most feared units. It's the kind of move that could be remembered for decades, a defining moment that sets the franchise apart and puts them back on the map as a powerhouse in the NFL. If it happens, we'll look back and say that the day the Commanders traded for Nick Bosa was the day everything changed. The NFC East will never be the same, and Washington will be front and center in the hunt for championship glory. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YOUTUBE algorithm to keep recommending the latest Washington Commanders news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And now, Washington Commanders fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Are you excited about the possibility of Bosa wearing the burgundy and gold? Do you think this move makes sense for the franchise's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Washington Commanders. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Washington Commanders news. This is a story that could redefine the NFC East and set the stage for another Super Bowl chase. So keep your eyes peeled, and let's see what the future holds for our beloved team.